Hello, it's Dana Warren here for Hampton Art, and today I'm going to show you how to make a nice elegant card using clear embossing on a black cardstock, which is kind of a little bit different than what usually people do. As you can see, it kind of gives a nice kind of contrast between the darker parts of your stamp and your black cardstock. So to get started, we're going to need a stamp from Graphic 45's Hampton Arts. It's the IC216 set, and we're going to be using this stamp down here. We're going to need some Versamark ink, some Memento Luxe Tuxedo Black pigment ink, and then I used some black lace that I had in my stash. Anything will work. We're going to need a black cardstock. I got, let's see, I think 5 across, and then some purple, or really any color that you like. And then of course some little purple jewels, just kind of add a little bit sparkle to it. So to get started, we're going to stamp and emboss our stamp. Use this one there. So to make it sure it's straight, I'm going to line it up on my mat here. Okay, so I'm going to go across my panel here with my Versa ink. I'm going to ink it up with the watermark ink. Get it nice and good and juicy. And I'm going to press nice and hard because this is a good detailed stamp. I'm not really looking for lots of detail, but I want to make sure that it gets on there as good as possible. My cardstock's also textured, so okay, so I've got everything stamped, and now we're going to use some clear embossing powder. I use Ela Mode by Hampton Art clear embossing powder. I get mine at Joann's. They have this nice big bottle. I've gone through the smaller ones several times, so I just went ahead and got the bigger bottle because I use clear embossing powder a lot. So I'm just going to add the powder. Kind of shake off the excess. Get rid of the extra there. There we go. So then I'm just going to heat this with my heating gun. Okay, so I'm just going to set that side, just kind of make sure it cools before touching it. And next, okay, so next I'm going to take my card base here and I'm going to place my panel that I embossed onto my cardstock. And I'm going to kind of play with how much, because I'm going to have my black panel all the way to the top of my card base, and then I'm going to have the rest of it be my purple. So I'm going to eventually trim off this extra that I don't need, but until then I'm going to just adhere this piece to my purple cardstock. So I'm just going to get out my tape. Okay, so I'm just going to line it up on my mat to make sure it's all straight. And then I'm going to just kind of pick a line on my mat to line up my black panel, just so I know that it's going on straight. Alright, so you can see I'm just going to eventually put it right like that. But first I want to add some of this black lace, and anything that you have will work, whether it's ribbon or your own little piece of lace will work. I don't even remember where I got this from. I probably had it forever, I think. Alright, so I'm just going to add a little bit of adhesive to the back to hold it on there. But first I'm going to kind of play with the placement. So I want it to go across there. So that's about where I need to put my adhesive. Okay. So I'm just gonna make sure this is where I want it, and then just kind of hold it taut and press it into the adhesive that's in the back, and the same with that side. Yep. See I've stuck it there. And then I'm going to take a little bit of liquid, some of this thick white glue on my toothpick, and just add a teeny bit to the underside of one of these flowers, just so it will stay in place in the middle. It's just a little bit, and it dries clear, so even if you get some out, you won't see it. Okay, so before I add my panel to my card base, I'm just going to add some rhinestones to the center of my stamp pieces here. And I like to glue them on because I don't really like the glue adhesive that are on lots of rhinestones. To me, they don't last very long, so I just go ahead and use some white glue and make sure that they're not going anywhere. Okay. Alright, so next I'm just going to add some adhesive to the back of my panel here, because I'm going to go and adhere it to my card base, and the very last thing I'm going to do is stamp my sentiment on the edge there. Alright, so I'm just going to trim off this extra purple that I don't need anymore. Alright, and then the last thing I need to do is add my sentiment from the same stamp set. So I'm just going to line it up, make sure it's straight. And I am going to be just putting it here in the middle, like that. And I'm going to use some Memento Luxe Tuxedo Black ink, because this cardstock's textured, so it's going to give a nice little aged look, because it's not going to get into all the little grooves, but I do want it to be able to see it. So pigment's best right here instead of a dye ink. So I'm just going to press it in there, nice and good, and lift up, and there we go. It's nice and elegant, kind of a little different look with the clear embossing on the black cardstock. So I hope you liked it and give it a try at home. Thanks for stopping by.